third thing is that we gain delight in God. Psalm 16 verse 11 says, "You show me the path of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy. In your right hand are pleasures forevermore." And what that's talking about is that in God's presence, that there is joy to be experienced. In fact, a lot of Psalms are about how we experience the joy of being in God when we are in God's presence. How we can experience what it means to live life to the fullest when we are in God's presence. In the same way, we can delight in God when we are doing quiet time. The secret of joy is this: knowing God. And I'm not just saying that because it's some nice thing to say, some cliche statement. But it's because when we know God, we have assurance that God is walking alongside of us. We have direction. We have a sense of delight when we are in God's presence. So that's the third privilege of quiet time. The fourth thing is we grow more like God. We grow more like God. And if you're a parent, or if you're a child, you've heard your parents say this, or think this. There's that saying, you become like the people you hang out with, right? You become like the people you hang out with. The more you hang out with certain people, the more you adopt their practices, adopt their habits, adopt their lifestyle, adopt their whatever, right? You just become like the people you hang out with. And it's true in my life. I remember, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but I was hanging out with people a lot. And all of a sudden, it's so weird, but one day I realized my laugh changed. The way I laugh changed. Have you guys ever, I don't know about you, but I've experienced that where I go, wait a minute, that's how my friend Isaac laughs. What the heck? It's so subtle. But when you begin to hang around with people, you yourself will change. In the same way, the more you hang out with Jesus, the more you hang out with God, the more you will become like them. Not that you are God, don't get me wrong, but that you begin to adopt the character of God. You begin to adopt the love of God. You begin to adopt the outreach of God, the showing of grace of God. So that's one of the great benefits of spending time with God, that you grow more like God. So the four privileges of quiet time: we give devotion to God, we get direction, we get delight, and we become more like God. Okay? Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about the essentials, or the elements of a quiet time. Essential elements of a quiet time. The things that we kind of have to do to set up a good quiet time. Not what we do, but kind of the setup. Okay? The first is that we need to start with the proper attitude. And this is the right heart attitude. Okay? And what I mean by this is, if you're in a relationship, you don't spend time with your spouse. Well, maybe you do because you have to. But ideally, you don't want to come to a date night with your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, or wife and go, fine, I'll spend time with you. I mean, that's just not an ideal situation. It's not an ideal attitude. In the same way, in our relationship with God, oftentimes we come with, fine, I'll do it. Because it's a thing to do, rather than a relationship to cultivate. So we have to clothe ourselves with the proper attitude, the right heart, to say that, you know what, I want to do this. And we have to come with four things. We have to come with expectancy, that God has something good for us. A lot of times we come into quiet time without that expectation that God has something good for us. Rather than coming with that attitude, we just say, it's just something to do to check off the list. We have to come with expectancy that God has some gift for us in that time. Okay? The other thing is we have to come with reverence. And what I mean by that is that we don't come in for a quick lube. It's not like Jiffy Lube. We come in, we park the car, we do our thing, and we get out of there. It's not like that. We come with reverence. We bother to take the time. We are intentional about spending time with God. And then we come with alertness. That's the third thing that we have to come with in our attitude. That we have to be alert to the fact that we are spending time with God. How many of you guys have done that? Where you're praying at night. I'm just praying and praying and praying. Somewhere in that prayer, I begin to pray for the meal that I'm about to eat. Yes. Thank you, God, for the food that we're about to eat. It's not only plural because I say we, as if there's anyone around me. And then second, I pray for food that I'm not about to eat. It's just, I don't know what my mind does. I'm just not there. Thank you, God, for, I'm about to do something. Why do we do that? Because we're not alert. We're not there. We're not present with God. We're thinking about other things. We have other worries of life. And you start daydreaming even, right? Rather than praying. Have you done that? Where you're praying and you start thinking about other things. We gotta come with alertness. We gotta be there with God. And then the fourth thing that we have to come with is willingness to obey. The fact of the matter is, if you spend your time with God, if you spend 30 minutes, an hour, if you spend 5 minutes, and then you come out of that time unwilling to learn, unwilling to change, unwilling to obey, then you've wasted your time. Why go to God if you won't let God affect your life? We often pray for direction. We often pray that God would change our lives to say that, not that way. I don't want to change like that. You've wasted your time if you're not coming with willingness in your attitude, okay? So attitude, the proper attitude. The second element of a great quiet time is this. We have to select a specific time. Same general time is always helpful because you build a habit, okay? And the best time that you can choose is when you are at your best. It's a lot like, coming with alertness. When you are at your best is the best time for you to have a quiet time. Some of us, we need to make an appointment with God. We need to literally put it on our Outlook calendars. We need to put it in our day runners. We need to put it in our phones. I don't know. But we literally need to make an appointment with God because otherwise we feel so busy and we forget. And you ask, well, how long are we supposed to do it if we're talking about time? I would say aim for no less than 15 minutes. But if you're starting off, you've never done it before, start with 5 minutes. It's hard to do a lot in 1 minute, okay? It's just hard. Start with 5 minutes. Aim for no less than 15, and you'll build up a good habit. But select a specific time when you are at your best. When you're tired, when you're dead tired, and the one place and time you choose is your bed at midnight, that's probably not the best time to have your quiet time. But build a specific time. Maybe it's in your cubicle. Maybe it's at the library at school. Maybe it's at your office. I don't know. But you have to choose a specific time that works best for you. And then choose a place, by a special place. And by special, I don't mean some extravagant place, but a place that is consistent. A place that will eventually become that place where you meet God. And that place will become special. I know a lot of people that have a reading chair. Like that's the chair that they read in. Right? And that creates specialness for that chair. It's a chair, but it's where they do their reading. And so it becomes special in and of itself. I don't know what your place is, but choose a place where you can go to consistently so that that becomes holy ground for you during that special time. That becomes that special place for you when you spend time with God. And that will change you. I don't know what your place is. Last night I was having dinner with some people of our church, and I don't know how the conversation got off onto this. But even what I found out, at the risk of too much information, TMI, is that, okay, for me, the bathroom, you go in, you do your business, and you get out. For other people, I'm amazed. They spend hours. That's their place to have alone time. They talk on the phone, they text, they read a magazine. I'm like, why? Right? I don't get it. Why? Why would you? Why would you subject yourself to yourself? Right? I don't know what your special place is. Hopefully for quiet time, it's not the toilet. But choose a place that it becomes your place to do quiet time. For me, there was a time when the beach, the waterfront, was my special place. That was the place I drove to pray, to read the Bible, and just to stare out at the water. And it became my sacred place. It became my holy ground, where I met God. Often in the Bible, it's the mountaintops. Where is your place that you can establish as your place? It's special not because it's extravagant, but it's special because that's the place that is designated where you meet God. And then fourth, follow a simple plan. And that's what I would like to talk about next, following this simple plan. 6 steps for a quiet time. Again, we're getting very practical today, okay? So 6 steps for a quiet time. The first step is this: wait on God. And what I mean by that is that